Good midnight, or should I say good evening. Today we're going to go ahead and react to a video called When Game Developers Get Lazy. Now this is a pretty interesting video, to say the least. Does talk a lot about AI and really reused assets and whatnot. Excuse me. Just going to go ahead and see what is happening in the YouTube chat. Hold on. There we go. All right, good evening to the chat. But for now, we're gonna actually go ahead and react to the video. I don't want to go ahead and waste time. So this is a video called When Game Developers Get Lazy.
Call of Duty Black Ops 6, definitely not a game that is without controversy. There's two more recent big ones right now, and it kind of leads into a huge can of worms for the larger gaming industry. But let's talk about AI game development. Now,
AI game development.
AI in game development wasn't like a weird thing. I mean, artificial intelligence in the form of like an NPC knowing where to walk or something like that, or how to react to something, is something that's been used in gaming for a long time. We're specifically talking, though, about the generative AI usage in gaming development.
Generative AI. Now... Hold on a second, we're gonna go ahead and drink my coffee. I don't want it to get cold. Now, when it comes to generative AI in games, I don't mind it being used when it's by a indie developer, for example, and that's to a least amount. That's when somebody couldn't afford a artist or couldn't afford a musician. I don't mind it as much, safe to say. But at the same time, I do have a bit of, I do have a bit of a problem when it comes to AI itself. When you generate too much with AI, keep in mind that the game itself is going to look soulless. It's going to sound soulless, especially too. I mean, just imagine like plopping in 11 Labs voices along with Mid-Journey art and whatnot, and even using music. Oh wait, and even using like stuff for music like Udio or Suno. It's gonna look pretty ugly. And yeah, that's my whole opinion on it. Oh, shit.
Now, there's a lot of opinions all over the place when it comes to generative AI. What uses it can be used for, and what uses it really shouldn't be used for. And when it comes to anything that is a part of the creative process, I don't think there's too many people like campaigning for less actual creatives to be involved during game development and more AI usage, other than maybe like executives who get a ton of money for cutting costs. A studio that uses ChatGPT to organize their schedule for the day? Okay, fine. A studio that uses AI technology to replace digital artists, and then they put said art into the game and sometimes paywall it, that's a completely different story. And Call of Duty...
Yeah, that's what I'm that's what I'm definitely talking about. Screw you, Activision.
Black Ops 6 did it and tried to hide it, and actually probably hit it very well. At first glance, if you're like looking through the different art featured in Black Ops 6, which they did...
This is why I don't really use Google's apps at all. They're probably going to plot my algorithm into an AI and probably do some shit with it.
This whole thing where like now you get loading screens, which are art. A lot of games do it. It's not that weird, but some of these loading screens are actually a part of bundles that you can spend extra money on. And
oh my god!
Were suspicious when Black Ops 6 first came out that hey, is Treyarch or Activision using AI to do this art and not actually hire digital artists anymore, not have as many digital artists anymore. But then people looked at this gobblegum image and, you know, it definitely does look like this hand has 6 fingers. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 6,
Lord.
right? So people are like, okay, either an artist was like really not thinking when they did this very high quality looking image, or it's AI. But then, a month after Black Ops 6 released, they're looking in.
I'll be honest though, this one looks a little cool. I don't know. I kind of like the teeth part.
Or it's AI. But then, a month after Black Ops 6 released, there was this whole Christmas event, and one of the loading screens that you could unlock through the Christmas.
You're telling me that they, hold on. You're telling me that they could actually make a logo with with fucking AI? God damn. They could actually make a logo with AI, but they couldn't get the fingers right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, look at that shit. How absolutely ridiculous do you have to be, Activision? Like, I am sorry. What? This is the worst fucking thing I've ever seen. And I'm sorry, because the word fucking is a little heavy on my mouth, so I might eventually have to say effing or freaking. See, I could pronounce that even better.
Did this very high quality looking image, or it's
but nonetheless.
the loading screens that you can unlock through the Christmas event. My current loading screen that I still have set because I thought it was funny at the time is this image of a zombie Santa with 6 fingers. This is a pretty big slip up here. My main theory is that there's probably a digital artist working on these images, but they are also using generative art to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and somehow no one's touching it. And this image kind of opened up the gates for a bunch of people to start analyzing a lot of the art, especially ones in paid bundles. If at first glance you might think, oh, you know, there's an item that's recognizable from Call of Duty, everything else is probably fine, but then you look and you're like,
I'll kill you, BB.
That's recognizable.
Bitch, I'm going to kill you instead. The world is fucking sus.
Call of Duty, everything else is probably fine, but then you look and you're like, this doesn't make sense. Look at this cozy image. The longer you look at it, the less it starts to make
getting too freaked up
sense. If you start looking at any of the details, like the chocolate chips or the snow on the ground.
Oh god. What the fuck is that?
It makes sense.
Oh god.
The details like the chocolate chips or the snow on the ground and paper.
It's crazy how this is in a Call of Duty game.
Whatever this is. I mean, there's patterns that don't make sense. I highly doubt that there was someone making Call of Duty art and thought, you know what? Let's just do some.
Yeah, this shit looks like Atomic Heart.
See what happens. I mean, even some of the chocolate chips ended up inside of this like cup of milk or whatever, just there on top. Look at that. So at the end of the day, like with this, does it make a big difference in the game? Not really, but it already kind of sets the tone that Treyarch, Activision, whoever you want to point your finger at, is cutting some corners to do some lazy stuff. And then on top of that, there's some weird speculation going on.
Oh, I misread it. I see you're watching Call of Duty. The reptilians have infected it with Corvus. Oh, indeed, they have.
With some voice acting stuff with Black Ops 6 as well. After the launch of Black Ops 6, some people started to
Oh, speaking of Corvus, apparently there's this I don't know what's it called. There's this Corvus die video that's gonna come out in probably 3 months. Caucus Lab at it again.
Question some of the consistency across the board with some of the characters, as it seems like the voice for a character, what was his name again? Josh Peck? Wait, no. William Peck. And possibly the character Samantha were recasted. But then it was weird because Activision and Treyarch never published any information about the recasting. And this was all during this big movement by the Screen Actors Guild to protect voice actors and other actors from having their voices recasted. Now, Black Ops 6 technically didn't fall in under the strike because the game was in development before the strike started, but that didn't stop Treyarch from moving forward with doing something with different actors. Now, there's speculation that potentially Treyarch was using AI voice technology to copy the voices of the actors and then re-implement them, or it's possible that these voice actors who played these characters would refuse to record if there weren't protections in place protecting voice actors from future AI usage.
Seeing how no one is making Black Ops 3, Corvus AI, and voice YTPs, then I think I'm gonna have to do it.
Or just active.
We need more YouTube poops. I mean, come on, in this world that's like dire of fucking, I don't know, unquote video essays and fucking, I don't know, fucking commentary videos. I guess we need some more YouTube poops.
Vision coming under fire at this time, they chose to just recast altogether. And mind you, these voice actors were used in the trailer back in August, just the voices were changed by the launch in November. And these voice actors played
AI sucks, but the only thing I'll use it for, is, aside from upscaling wallpapers, had gotta be Corvus.
the characters in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So they were just reprising their role. Everything was good to go. Just something happened in these few months. Zeke Alton, one of the actors who was recasted for the character William Peck, actually made a statement on this, saying that the performance behind William Peck wasn't his, and the lack of crediting a replacement actor kind of implies that it might still be him, which then...
The world is a YouTube poop. We must honor the cock. To be fair, the world is indeed a YouTube poop. Yeah, slowly becoming, unfortunately.
And is essentially something that people could easily misconstrue in...
Yeah, and it's, well, it's been for a long time, but you know, you get the point.
...to thinking was him, and then is reflective of what his acting ability is, even if it's not him, because Activision never clarified that it was recasted. Alton even went on to state that he believes that the performance could be AI generated as well, even though there was no hard proof just yet. And he also pointed out the possibility that Activision could just have wanted to avoid recasting drama. But yeah, there's no hard concrete evidence that he was, you know, AI-ified. But there's no concrete evidence that they didn't use AI to recast him, since they didn't give credit to whoever the replacement person was. And
I think they gotta get a, you know, give the voice lines some, like, audio forensic stuff. Call of Duty has become DeviantArt. Oh, indeed.
it's not like Call of Duty's against AI. The other actress, Julie Nathanson, who played Sam, was also potentially axed. But don't worry, after, you know, people started talking about this, being like, yo, what's going on? Activision, Treyarch, hello, Activision.
To be fair, Call of Duty just, you know, Call of Duty's UI in general just really became a artificially intelligencified. I don't know if I really put it correctly, but I guess that's what it is.
Was like, we got you, fan base. We understand the concern, and we are going to address everything to clear the air. We respect the personal choices of these performers. Out of respect for all parties, we won't add commentary about the ongoing negotiations with SAG. We're looking forward to a mutually beneficial outcome as soon as possible.
Okay.
They literally addressed absolutely nothing with their only statement in regards to the recasting.
Also, I'm editing this and I just noticed that the cutscene for the tomb doesn't have any of the voice actors talking, and it's pretty weird how the whole cutscene plays out with only Sam being on screen and talking for like a majority of the cutscene. Also, there isn't an intro cutscene for this map, which the other maps had one. So maybe they're trying to get away from the allegations by not using voice actors at all.
When it comes to Call of Duty and criticism and controversy, these aren't the only examples. There's definitely a long list of a long history, but these are the most recent examples, and they tie into other things that other studios have also done. Halo Infinite recently did some really lazy stuff. The fuel rod gun is kind
Ooh, there we go. Halo Infinite.
of an iconic Halo weapon. It's been in pretty much every single Halo game.
At least with those jetpack games, they were upfront with making silly ass games.
Mainline Halo game to some extent. And Halo Infinite didn't have the fuel rod gun at launch, but they decided, hey, we're gonna finally add it. Except not really. Instead of designing, you know, an original gun for the fuel rod gun, they used a rocket launcher that had a skin on it that kind of looked like a fuel rod gun, you know, reused the assets of the rocket launcher, made the shots green, and they were like, hey, look, it's a special type
They weren't using AI as much as crack.
of fuel rod gun that
Oh,
looks
yeah.
exactly like the rocket launcher, and they gave some like lore explanation about how like the brutes retrofitted it, whatever. How big
Fucking,
bare bones of a skeleton crew do they have working on Halo Infinite right now? I mean, it's obvious it is probably a
I mean, hey, if Halo Studios is using is reusing assets, I mean, what's stopping fucking indie developers?
small crew, and they're trying to come up with something to, keep the game
Lord.
going and have content. And I honestly don't think at this point the idea to keep Halo Infinite alive with new content is because they think that they can, regrow the player base, but it's more to try to save face so that whenever they announce the new Halo game, people will be like, oh, well, look, they kept adding content all the way through Halo Infinite's life. We can be excited for the new Halo. But this illusion that there's a lot of new content coming into Halo Infinite is kind of broken here when we can see like the blatant reuse of a rocket launcher model. I mean, it's not the biggest deal to me, but I see a lot of people like talking about it online. There's a lot of things going on with Halo Infinite. I mean, the over-reliance of
The usual zombies wrap requires copious amounts of marijuana.
community-made Forge maps as new
Oh, indeed.
for Halo Infinite, which would actually be fine if Halo Infinite was still getting actual, real new maps being made as well as community-made maps, not just being completely reliant
I bet Activision smoked the hell out of this shit.
on the community to do all the work for free. And while Steam charts isn't reflective of the entire Halo Infinite community, as there are people who play on Xbox and on the Windows version of Halo Infinite, the population of the game is obviously still trending downwards, with Halo Infinite
To make a good game, you must smoke weed and crack. Exactly.
in the past couple of months reaching
Games are good if they are on LSD.
the lowest numbers it had pretty much ever hit, or at least tying the lowest numbers it had hit. But I mean, are we really surprised? 343 slash.
I mean, hell, just
Halo
look at
Studio,
Cruelty Squad.
Same company, by the way. It's all Microsoft, guys. It's always just Microsoft. They do this with all of their studios, it seems like, or most of them. They don't hold leadership accountable to make sure things are good. And of course, Halo Infinite dropped the ball more than once. Destiny 2 is in a rough spot right now, and there's a lot.
I don't
of
need
things
drugs,
that
I'm
I
just
could say
retarded.
to criticize the game overall.
Me too.
I could criticize the development and the
Me
choices
too.
that the studio has made for Destiny 2. But that's not really the point here. The big complaint with Destiny 2 that I feel, besides like repetitive tasks and newer content, is that despite the fact that they charge quite a bit of money for expansions every year, a lot of the events that happen throughout the year are just like rehashes or reuses of previous content. And I'm not even talking about like them bringing
God.
old raids back from Destiny 1. I actually think that that's pretty cool. What I don't like is when they take a location and like try to spice it up a little bit, and they're like, oh look, it's this brand new experience. A while back, they did that with the Leviathan,
So
which was
that
my
also
favorite
works.
raid in Destiny. I played a lot of the Leviathan raid with friends. We were, trying to teach newbies how to do it back in the day. Like, we had a blast with the Leviathan raid. I just loved the concept of it. It wasn't the most popular raid ever, but I liked it. And then when they sunsetted a bunch of content out of Destiny 2, the Leviathan raid ended up getting the axe and was removed from the game, and you just straight up can't play it anymore.
I don't know why I thought about this just recently, but I mean, hell, the more retardation we get, the more quality the products have. You know what I mean?
Which is a shame, because that was some of my favorite content in Destiny 2. I was so familiar with it, I didn't have to like learn a new raid, and I could just like
Oh,
teach
God.
my friends how to do it real quickly, and they could experience what a raid was like in Destiny 2, and then maybe they'd want to keep playing. But instead, after they removed the Leviathan raid to allegedly like save space so that they could, add new content to the game, they took the geometry and location of the Leviathan raid and brought it back into the game for some little like firefight type event where you just like shoot stuff and run around and do your regular
Oh,
Destiny 2
boy.
stuff. But they never actually brought the raid back itself, just the location. So where's the justification that by them reusing the location on more than one occasion, we've gone back now to the Leviathan like 2 or 3 times after the raid's been removed, but then they won't re-enable the raid itself? It's really frustrating. It's like, oh look at this new location where you can go and explore and do this like new quest line that we're currently doing, and then it's just
I'm not even sure if I should even play Destiny. I'm kind of retarded.
the Leviathan raid, but then they don't put the Leviathan raid in itself. I don't know. This is just like one small example of them just like reutilizing locations. Sometimes it's okay, like when they originally did the whole like Outbreak Perfected thing and they reused part of the OG Destiny 1 tower that was in the intro of Destiny 2. That was kind of a cool little like thing, and then they took it out of the game for a while, and then they brought it back. And while like I'm not like the
Oh my
deepest
God.
Destiny 2 player in the world, I'm pretty sure any Destiny 2 player would probably have a longer list of examples of times where Bungie has reutilized centralized locations for some sort of event that they're doing for Destiny 2 in a pretty lazy way. Not like in a, oh, creative, you know, this is how we keep the game going, but in a, you guys really didn't have to do this type of way.
EA loves to capitalize on nostalgia, and the re-release of The Sims 1 and The Sims 2 should have been an exciting opportunity to bring some classic games to a modern audience, or at least to bring those classic games to people who enjoyed them back in the day. However, instead of a well-crafted remaster or even a functional
Destiny sucks dick.
release, fans got like this half-baked and lazy horde of...
I mean, to be fair, I'm not really here to judge. Yeah, by the way, if you don't know, this was about to be the fucking thumbnail. I chose a better thumbnail anyway. I'm not really exactly here to judge, but looking at this, it looks like it's meh. I mean, I haven't really played it, so to be fair, I just, you know, I just kind of feel indifferent about it. I don't know though. All it has are looks. Halo 4 and 5 are better. How does it control? Does it control like shitty or? Oh wait.
of a game. One of the most glaring issues with the re-release is the complete lack of meaningful enhancements. Many re-releases of classic games come with quality
Imagine walking in the kitchen naked.
of life improvements, graphical updates, or at least a little bit of effort in optimizing it for modern hardware. However, the re-release of The Sims 1 and
Oh,
Sims
God.
2 is just a near identical port of the original versions. This means that when you boot up the game, you
Do they
still have
like?
the same...
Do Sims have like self-awareness and or whatever? Oh, Destiny is super floaty. Plus, it's a scam that removes your paid for DLC every 6 months. Yeah, I mean, this video talked about it, so that makes sense.
settings, the same clunky UI, and the same mechanics, which were fine back in the
That'd
day.
be fucking
but
stupid, though.
compared to Sims 4 or even Sims 3, which are more modern versions of these games, they definitely haven't aged that well. On top of that, there's also a bunch of technical issues, like frequent crashes, problems with the resolution, or even performance issues, because I guess the compatibility isn't quite there. Like The Sims 2 was hard to run on modern hardware before this re-release.
Performance
and
issues
even with
is-
the re-release, there's still some
Performance
of the same
issues is
And what's
crazy.
even crazier is there's already fan patches for the issues
Look at this fucking game.
with Sims 1
Oh my
and
God.
Sims 2. Like, fans already made something where these issues are fixed, but EA couldn't be bothered. Like, I mean, I'm not quite sure on the legality of
literally
it, but
shapes a
I
number
feel
like Hunter on
EA,
wheel,
since it's
and
their game, they could
and it
have
might
just
as well play
taken
itself.
these fan patches and quote-unquote stolen them, legally maybe even, and then put them into the games. And sure, that would have created utter
Jeez.
backlash, but at least the games would have worked. Or if they wanted to be ethical about it, they could have just paid the modders for the patches and then implemented them. But either way, this just seems extremely lazy. Like, when you boot up the games, it still boots up in like the 800 by 600 resolution that games would start in back in the day on the old computers. It is kind of ridiculous also that they're trying to sell this non-functional re-release for $40 in a bundle or $50 if you buy both games separately, when these versions are less functional than what the community already cooked up. Also, some people might remember when in 2014 the Sims 2 Ultimate Collection was briefly available for free, and this Ultimate Collection included all expansion packs and all extra content. Now, this new collection is missing some of the extra content, and some of that might be because of licensing issue like the IKEA pack, but still,
Oh
they
God,
gave it away
the
for
IKEA
free,
pack.
like 11 years ago, and now they're trying to charge $30 for the same thing. Also, another thing that they could have added to this collection was all the
Okay, here's a hot take. The Sims looks like a little bit like a boring game. It looks like a game that I wouldn't really play.
Extra console stuff that came out back in the day for
It feels like nothing but a house simulator.
the PlayStation and GameCube versions of Sims 2. Like, the Sims 2 on console had, like, exclusive lots, like an alien.
You never get more powerful in the game, and the game never gets fun because the PvE story is bogged down by the abandoned PvP mode. They abandoned 5 years ago, so you'll feel like shit in Destiny.
Alien crash site or a biodome
Right.
or a sunset canyon. There was all these cool spots that you could like visit in The Sims 2 on.
Hey, what's up, Eka? The Sims is boring. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I've seen like footages of it and shit. I don't know, I never really cared for the game. I hope you're doing well, Eka. Welcome to the stream.
Console, but they never came to PC. So this would have been a perfect opportunity to re-release these and, you know, give the player some extra content for buying this. The whole thing just feels like a quick cash grab, and it's kind of disappointing, and it's really lazy
Hell,
on
Hydra.
its part. I think they definitely could have done better, and I feel like they would have sold more versions of the game if they just put a little bit of effort into it.
Okay, so Flight Simulator is an interesting game series in general. Obviously, there is a high usage of tech to make
As if EA does. Ain't no way you're gonna find effort from EA.
this game even work. The fact that you can fly across a somewhat photorealistic globe and go anywhere in the world is really, really cool. Flight Simulator 2024, though, I didn't like.
I don't need a game to do pretend Texas. I got real ones, EA. Exactly.
it. Now, I am a filthy casual, but I did clock quite a few hours into Flight Sim 2020. I would just like those landing challenges. I feel like I'm pretty much just as good as a real pilot nowadays. But weirdly enough, Flight Sim 2024 did this like whole like career mode that they added, where you have to go and get your pilot license, and you can pick jobs, and so a lot of the jobs at the beginning are like.
Just imagine if Hillary Clinton was about a pilot.
Flying around clients and whatnot, but the voice acting is insane for a video game.
One of our friends and her husband over Tokyo. If your passengers look comfortable, you are good to depart. Let's go, Captain.
Now, they decided...
This just sounds like the TikTok voice. I swear to God. Hold on, let's search it up. Fucking... Actually, how about we go on FreeTube? TikTok voice. No, hold on. Oh, it's got a lot of this fucking bullshit. An example, hold on. An example for lazy game development is EA. Oh, indeed. Oh, here's Smosh. What was mind-blowing in the most beautiful and amazing, astonishing voices? Singing TikTok compilation. Yeah, fuck it. I could sing
to cast
I mean, I could sing better, I'll tell you what.
0 people
And sports games. Oh, definitely. Look at fucking FIFA.
to voice act for this game, and instead go for like the
An example for a better
text-to-speech
game is
route,
Rogue
and
Planet.
it sounds just awful.
Hey there, my name's
Exactly, because it's free. I believe games should be free.
Suki. I'm Tomoko's husband. Thanks for taking me up today. And a buttery smooth landing for a perfect finish.
At least, hey, at least
so,
Rogue
like-
Planet doesn't come out every year. Oh, indeed.
Not only is the writing really bad, and honestly,
Just one game, that's it.
I wouldn't be surprised if these lines were just generated by AI. A real person could have very well written them, but also the delivery here. I mean, maybe they should have used a better AI model for voice acting at this point, because they just straight up use like the old-fashioned Microsoft text-to-speech, and they sound
What the
so robotic, and it's so bizarre to me.
Asheen, we're losing the detail here. It just wish we were closer.
You know, it was fine in the first Flight Sim when there was a little bit of it.
Or the weird games in the Bretta Applied Sciences publisher on Steam with a ton of free games.
When they were like talking over the radio, because I would feel like listening to like a flight tower give you instructions or radioing into a flight tower, you want to be pretty like, I don't know, like straightforward, robotic almost, to be, you know, just very, very clear.
I mean, to be fair, I did find some like fucking avant-garde shit. Flight Sim has NPCs? Apparently. Since when? Yeah, I don't know, like, I haven't played the fucking flight simulator thing.
I never thought that like a real pilot has to have like a huge range in inflection with their voice. But I mean, when it's just like a passenger in the plane and like there's small talk and just the weird random things that they'll say, it is weird. It is lazy. They shouldn't have done this. I don't know what they should have done, but they shouldn't have done this.
Hey, did you enjoy it, Rio?
Rogue planning was something I cared about for 7 years, so it wasn't something I rushed for a buck. Meanwhile, EA.
Ready for your next flight?
I'm not quite sure right now. I need to recover first, I guess.
I hate this.
Oh,
This
they keep rushing their bullshit like crazy.
is so awful to me. I know there's someone out there who's gonna be like, it's not bad, it's actually really innovative. No, just stop. Let's just move on.
I'm too fast. I was hoping to have more time.
Oh god,
Surprisingly enough, the finals actually
nice.
ran into some criticism pretty early on back in 2023.
Did you guys know that that Microsoft will ban fucking flight sim players if they ever recreated fucking 9/11? Yeah, after all the fucking crimes they did, they're just gonna ban you for this shit? It's fucking stupid.
Because of the voiceover work for the announcers, which utilized AI voiceover technology, and
AI.
this kind of sparked a
I mean, it took a while now, but I'll be working on the sequel in Unreal 4, so hopefully that's better. I'm actually excited.
big discussion on like.
I'm actually
voice acting
excited
in games.
in what
This
you
all
got for
actually
it.
stemmed from a podcast.
The horror of my game is that it's the game everyone keeps saying they want, but they refuse to play.
In 2023, where the finals developer Embark Studios had like a Meet the Makers podcast,
Oh, indeed. People are liars.
and two of the audio designers were brought in, and they talked
Exactly.
about the incredible AI tools they used to create the voices in the finals. This is where things are kind of interesting. So they claim that they used AI with a few exceptions
A few exceptions.
for the voicing. So all of the contestant voices,
Yeah.
and the commentators are AI text to speech. But for things
I don't
which
know
they
about
would
that.
refer to as vocalizations, which are things kind of like jumping, breathing, vaulting, like the grunting noises you would hear in a first-person shooter. They said that they felt like AI tech wasn't there yet for those, so they would do that in the studio. Like, bro, come on now. Like, you can't save money on voice acting measures, not hiring real voice actors, but you still have to bring someone in to do all the grunting noises. Like, I don't know. This one's really goofy. Take a listen to what some of the voicing in the finals sounds like, and tell me if you think this sounds like weird, or do you think that like they're cooking here?
Anyways, we used to it with a few exceptions, ref. But anyways, that's a pretty fucking interesting turn with the game here. I'm actually interested in what you could do with the whole MODA thing when it comes to the game itself. I'm not sure if it's like a sort of abandoned game, or it's like a something like that. Nonetheless, I'm interested.
Now, the Kingfish, the Jet Setters.
Is that fucking... No, not J.J. Abrams, fucking J. Jonah Jameson. I forgot the guy's name. Oh, J.K. Simmons. That's his name. I don't know if that's fucking J.K. Simmons.
And finally, the powerhouses. The Kingfisher back. Team respond. Misfortune for the jet setters. Team wiped.
They'll be cooling their jets now, Scotty.
Fucking J.K. They got J.K. Simmons to fucking voice act this shit? Did they fucking steal voice lines from Portal 2?
This is a rough spot for the Kingfish. One remaining contestant is trying to keep them in the game.
Now, the developers did point out some of the benefits of using AI voiceover work, besides, like, I guess, the financial savings and not having to hire a voice actor. But, like,
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're developing a game, you can immediately put in placeholder audio without having to go and change it later on. Which, I mean, if you wanted to do that for placeholder audio, that's one thing, but to ship it as a final product, especially for, like, what's supposed to be a AA or AAA game, it just feels really weird. Now, obviously, there are some benefits, like the turnaround time, you know, not having to, like, schedule a voice actor to come in. You could, like, then, in turn, put content out for your game potentially faster. But, yeah, it's just a weird thing, and I can understand why this became a big turning point in terms of, like, AI generative content as a discussion, because, like, this affects a pretty massive part of the industry. Like, imagine if every game just did, you know, Microsoft Flight Sim level of voiceovers. I mean,
Oh, God.
obviously there are better voice models out there than what they did with Flight Sim, but just imagine what a game like Cyberpunk would look like instead of actually having Keanu Reeves voice the character. They had AI Keanu Reeves voice the character. I don't know. I just feel like part of the charm is gone when it's not the real person making the character exist.
Now, if you watch our last video on games that are getting abandoned, you know that we talked about the game Foam Stars. Now, what we didn't talk about
Foam Stars?
was that this game actually had some controversy surrounding AI with it. Specifically,
I haven't heard
generative
about
AI.
this.
During a press event, Foam Stars producer Kosuke Okatani disclosed that a minimal portion of the game's content was generated with AI. Now, this is what he specifically said. In terms of the content in the game, this makes up about 0.01% or even less. But we have dabbled in it by creating these icons in the game. And the icons he's referring to here are the
We took hostages with a few exceptions. The others were shot.
album covers in-game.
What the hell?
So they generated the covers for the game's soundtrack using AI.
This shit looks like it's made in Microsoft Creator or whatever. What the hell? I don't know. Microsoft Copilot.
Now, the whole excuse for doing this is they just wanted to experiment with these new
That line is meme. That line is so memeable.
tools and see how they could implement them. For these album covers specifically, they used the Midjourney program or software, whatever you want to call it. It's like an AI tool that can generate images through inputs. If you heard of generative AI, you probably heard of
Midjourney.
Midjourney, to be honest, whether you like the whole AI thing or not. Midjourney is a very controversial tool. There have been lawsuits brought by artists, like thousands of artists actually, that claim that their artworks were scrapped to train Midjourney, and you know, there's an ethical question with all of that. Now, if you look at the actual album covers, they honestly kind of look bad. They look like generic stock images. They
All that glitters.
really don't fit the style of the game overall. With the
You know what else glitters? I'm gonna let you guys continue the joke.
game being like cartoony and like kind of like shiny, or I don't even know what to call the game style, but definitely the style of the game
We used AI with a few exceptions. Oh yeah, that line is definitely memeable. We spent the game's budget on crack with a few exceptions.
is not represented in these album covers, and you can clearly tell they're generated by AI. I mean,
We ate some booty with a few exceptions.
look at this. This use of AI in Foam Stars actually kind of mirrors what the company president just said like a couple months before this happened.
I like that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's a great joke right here. You know what else glitters? My dick. Basically, I'm gonna be the budget soundboard for now. I don't really have a cheering voice or a cheering sound. Excuse me. But I'm just gonna do this right away. Or hold on, how about... I don't even fucking know. We suck dick with a few exceptions. Yes, indeed.
In In a statement talking about Square Enix's plans for 2024, he said, "We also intend to be aggressive in applying AI and other
The YouTube moderation has gone low recently. Apparently.
cutting-edge technologies to both our content development and our publishing functions." So Square Enix made it pretty clear
What else glitters? My dick. Bloodburn.
that they plan on using more and more AI in the future in all facets of game development. Honestly, it doesn't surprise me that Square Enix is doing this, because if you remember to 2023, they also heavily invested into NFTs and they were all in for NFTs. So it kind of makes sense that they would hop on a new technology like generative AI.
Okay, now I'm not trying to sound like super cynical all of the time when it comes
More like.
to AI technology
Oh, definitely.
and the future of gaming, because I think there could be a world where there's like, you know, some cool things that could come out of AI, specifically generative AI, possibly. But you know, sometimes like something gets shown off and it just feels very like dystopic, maybe. Like it just.
You mean
you're just like,
dystopian?
man, what am I even listening to? And it's really funny when, specifically speaking here, it's Ubisoft, because
Lord.
as many of you know, Ubisoft hasn't really been in the best financial place lately. They've been canceling a bunch of games.
Good.
Their like revenue's way down. They released Skull and Bones. They're kind of cooked right now. But in 2024, they decided at GDC they were going to show off a big project, multiple projects actually, that they were working on. That
A quadruple A project, huh?
aren't video games. Like, you can see that they put a lot of work into these tech demos that do not.
Thank God the YouTube moderation has loosened up lately. Thought they'd keep up. Thought they'd keep this guy's shit up front. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, fuck you, Ubisoft.
Not serve a purpose as game development, or they're just trying to show off the tech that they have, not anything that's actually being worked on for a real game, which I think is interesting, and it kind of shows like their mindset on things.
I used to be an adventurer like you. I'll be right back, guys. Yeah, don't worry, I'm just gonna get some water. Shit. Ubishit can go back to making army games, then maybe they'll grow some balls. Yeah, we definitely need more army games. This day and age.
Things, but let's actually look at this, because this is potentially the future that Ubisoft sees. Like I said, it's not necessarily as like awful, maybe. I mean, maybe it's awful. I don't know. But let's look. So the first thing,
It's already awful.
maybe something that I think a lot of people expected to come around with the rise of AI technology, and it's just Ubisoft has capitalized on it already. Ubisoft, on their YouTube channel, they posted this proudly. They even have a thumbnail where they photoshopped an arm of a character to like underline the text. Like they're trying to optimize their YouTube.
Too much indoors is bad for you. Exactly. This is why I usually go outside on fucking malls or whatever. It's been awful since 2012. Glad people are catching up. Oh, most definitely. Yeah, that's why I stick to like fucking early 2010s stuff. Like early 2010s and, you know, late 2000s. It was more likely the golden era, because companies knew their limitations. Gonna get my phone. I'll be right back. I didn't know I'm reading the fucking chat off my phone. Oh, my bad. Shit. Oh my god. You have got to be kidding me. Let's actually order some not sugary coffee. Place your order soon. Alright. Last minute. Damn it. Yeah, whatever. Exactly. To the malls and Ubisoft can suck your balls. Oh, exactly. Yeah, fuck them. I mean, hell, what do you expect from Ubisoft? Really, what do you expect from a shitty company like Ubisoft or Activision or really anything? Nothing anymore. Far Cry 3 is a fun game. Order me a Big Mac, will you? I fucking wish.
Thumbnail game, but Ubisoft showcased what they are calling Ghostwriter, which is an AI quest tool where essentially an AI will generate a bunch of like quest text dialogue prompts. And
you guys could have used ChatGPT, and I'm talking to Ubisoft. Use ChatGPT, you lazy pieces of shits. Making your own damn fucking what was it called? Fucking writer.
And
Get the
potential
fuck
things
outta
to go
here.
into the game.
Ghostwriter is an in-house AI tool created by Ubisoft Laforge.
La Froche.
Scriptwriters first create a character and a variable input, an event or situation for a character to experience. Ghostwriter
Oh wait, that movie is older than their prepubescent AI. Then it became ass. I'm sorry, Mr. Bot.
can then generate new versions of the line depending on the mode selected.
Well, oh my god, look at the fucking... I can do this. I was once the most talented and famous adventurer in the land. Well, not like you. I was going on an adventure until... I wanted to find out the truth about the world. I was going to save the world. Look at the fucking dialogue.
And then instead of a writer actually having to write out things and think about stuff, they could just go and look at what the AI came up with, make some small revisions. The AI will update based on those revisions, and bada boom, bada bing. Ubisoft doesn't even need writers anymore, or as many writers, because they'll have a tool that will replace.
I think the shitty AI was made by a James Bond villain. Oh, indeed.
The writers.
Ghostwriter was created hand in hand with
Ubisoft is the James Bond villain.
narrative teams to help them complete a repetitive task more quickly and effectively, and ensuring players encounter NPCs that are interesting, consistent, and just chatty enough.
Luke, I was trying to think of like a good comparison to compare this to.
Chatted my ass.
Like when technology gets better, inevitably some jobs become antiquated, right? And they get phased out. Like I'm sure there were less horse breeders in the world when semi-trucks were invented. I mean, I guess it wasn't quite that order. It was probably like trains first before. But you get what I'm saying.
That dialogue is definitely made by teenage AI.
The horse breeders is probably not the best example for this. So I understand that it is very possible that humans will develop a technology that can replace certain jobs. Self-driving cars might one day replace truck drivers. AI tools might one day replace writers. Not that I think that's a good thing, but it might inevitably happen because
Who knows?
the way the stuff evolves over time. But there's just something right now, especially, and I know a lot of people think AI is like moving.
Where's the interesting NPCs Ubisoft? All I see is a sloppy NPC that tells me to fetch him some items for a side quest.
At like the fastest pace it ever has, and it probably
Ain't no fucking interesting NPC from Ubisoft.
is. But I don't think we're at the point where AI is gonna write something that's not like kind of cringy. I don't know. Some dialogue I've seen AI come up with, or like writing that is very obviously AI generated on social media, on other places, it always feels fake.
You mean it's like so generic that like
Yeah, rocket shit. AI writers will not phase out people because people love making stuff.
you can tell it's generic?
Kind of. It just
Indeed.
it becomes formulaic after a while, where maybe your first time blind reading, you might not notice, but you start to pick up these patterns that just keep getting repeated over and over. It's
Creativity is very
reading
human.
On, like someone make a post and it's very obviously generated by like ChatGPT, and it always like ends in like, this is a testament
Literally.
to da 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 and da 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 da. Like, it just happens a lot. Obviously, we're not like experts on AI, and we could just be completely blind to what's going on. But I just feel like this whole thing of replacing writers, especially story things like quest lines and stuff, with AI, I don't feel like it's going to elevate the storytelling in Ubisoft games at all.
Honestly, the quests and like the stuff they write is also already so generic that like they might as well have it been. It might have felt the last 10, 15 years. It could have been written by AI.
Do you think they like, you know, put Cleverbot to use like 10 years ago to try to cook up some stuff?
Or you remember that little clip that would show up on your Word?
The clipboard, Clippy.
Clippy, yeah. You know, Clippy could have written Assassin's Creed dialogue. I don't know. Like, it's not that great.
I think there's also a desire from players who play games to experience something that's been created rather than experience something that is completely just random. Like I said,
Clearly, no one at Ubisoft, aside from the audio graphics team, are people. They're Chinese slaves, but still people.
I want to fully bash on AI as a concept because there has been cool things that have come out
Oh yeah,
of essentially the same thing, generative AI,
free labor. Am I right?
just without the word AI attached to it. I mean, Minecraft, right? Like that was a generated world. You know what I mean? That would happen every time, and each world would be unique. It's not the same type of AI generation as we're talking about nowadays, but like some stuff can be interesting in that field. It's just the more we remove the human from the equation, the worser of a gaming experience we're gonna get.
And honestly, it's kind of indicative of the gaming industry because video games used to
So
be
clearly,
like the
Ubisoft is retarded.
the will
Oh,
to
most
create
definitely.
art. And you know, that's been gone for a while with these big AAA companies at least.
This is Ubisoft we're talking about.
Right, this is Ubisoft, but even back in the day at Ubisoft, they had passion to develop some good games like Rayman, you know what I mean, stuff like that.
God. I missed when Ubisoft made good games. Rayman's was pretty fun. And to be fair, Rayman is, you know, it's not something I exactly grew up with, but at the same time, they're fine. The games are pretty good.
Its charm to it, and had a vision.
So if you thought Ubisoft Ghost Rider was kind of dystopic, is that the right word?
Dystopian?
Something like that.
I don't know if dystopic is right. It sounds like
Dystopian.
you constipated. Like I'm dystopic, you know.
Ubisoft is not indicative of the industry where they're fucked up. Like 500 games have taken their place.
Dude, that just means you're living in the future, dude.
ADA, AA
Whatever the
games
right
exist.
word is. If you thought it was weird, Ubisoft Neo kind of takes things a step further. And this, I was very surprised. It was like a 15-minute demo that Corbin Brown uploaded his experience, and this is like what we're going to be kind of citing here. It is a long demo of this non-game. Like, it literally says not actual game footage, even though it's a game that is being played. Just like not a game that they're going to release. They're just trying to show off the tech they have. And it is straight up, you talk to an NPC and the NPC talks back to you based on what you actually say.
So what is this resistant?
Oh, Rocket Shed is saying bullshit now. Ubisoft has just has marketing and money.
When did it form? Like,
Oh yeah, with the quadruple A bullshit that they're putting out.
why do we even not like these megacorps? Like, I like, you know, eating burgers.
Our resistance has been around for years,
What the fuck?
fighting against the oppression of these megacorps whose existence has been around for years.
Like,
Say.
so what is this resistance? When did it form? Like, why do we even not like these megacorps. Like I like, you know, eating burgers.
Our resistance has been around for years, fighting against the oppression of these megacorps who exploit resources for their own greed. But
What the fuck?
enough about us. What about your burger preference?
Check out Terminator Resistance. Great game that didn't have any marketing.
You know, I usually like my burgers double with some animal sauce, but well, why do you even care about this? Like, why are we here right now? What's your beef?
And take down these corporations
Or Earthfall, basically Left 4 Dead 3 with aliens.
for good. And who knows? Maybe we'll celebrate with some burgers
I like Left 4 Dead, but this game pisses me off. I'm sorry.
after a successful mission.
The future is here. Look at this, guys. We have characters that will understand what we're saying and try to like route the conversation back to their mission in one way or another, whether it feels organic or not.
My favorite pastime is cycling and walking. It's a great way to clear the mind and stay in shape.
Ugh.
And nothing turns around a day like a bike ride.
Take a look at that fucking subscribe shit.
Works like a charm. But when it comes to resistance missions, there's nothing more satisfying than successfully infiltrating a detention center.
I just don't think there's a lot of people who really like want to actually talk to NPCs. Not at this level.
Do you see any guards in there?
Yes. I see it. It's the laptop spotted.
Do you think you can risk up this like
Laptop spotted.
Go NPC?
If Ubisoft's smart and want to make money, maybe they'll do it.
Now we're talking. That's where the money is.
Ubisoft's got to turn their company around one way or another. They're going to try to make money. We'll be seeing some crazy Watchdog games in the future. Just kidding. That's never happening. We're not getting another Watch Dogs ever.
Oh. Actually, that's almost unrealistic.
Hey, you want to play Watch Dogs in real life? Boycott the companies. That's gonna fuck you over.
Sick part. Watch Dogs 3 or
That's how you do
Watch
it.
Dogs 4. Sorry.
Was there 3 of them?
Yeah, wasn't there? Yeah,
Oh my
Legion.
God.
I already forgot there was a third one, but yeah, there was.
But yeah, this is how you play Watch Dogs in real life. Boycott the companies that are gonna fuck you over. Let's say fuck you to the government.
3 already.
I have a very limited experience with Watch Dogs. My friend let me have his copy for the Xbox 360. Like he was like, "Hey, dude, do you want this game?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, sure." And then I put it in the Xbox, and I don't know if I had to install a disc or something.
They're just talking. Alternatives exist, but when YouTube channels like this and never cover games, they could make a change. It acts like a smoke screen to hide behind actual alternatives to fix these issues.
Do you not remember this game?
Yes, on this apparently on this section, they're apparently just fucking talking.
It came out in 2013 on the Xbox 360. It was called, and look at this very carefully on the box art here, Marlowe Briggs and the Mask of Death, right? Wild
And Microsoft is Sony too. Oh, exactly.
game concept.
Yeah, boycott these pieces of shits.
So it was like a hack and slash game. It was actually like probably not that bad, but I just
They're all just making shareholders happy instead of making quality products. That's what they do.
don't think there was any marketing for the game at all. So not a lot of people know about it. But for
They're more like shareholder pleaser. Excuse me. They're more like shareholder pleasing and fucking what's it called? And cheap now, dirt cheap now. Even though they don't want to claim it. Rocketshed is basically just saying bullshit now. I subscribe for them because they just say a bunch of crap. Oh yeah, at that point they're just talking. It adds nothing and makes their videos worse. Yeah, they're just talking at that point. Ooh, Overwatch. Yeah, reason why I'm interested in Overwatch is for simply other reasons. But anyways.
To hype up a new Overwatch game without
Oh, look at this bitch. I need.
actually doing any of the work, without putting in any of the development time that a true sequel to Overwatch would need. And at first it
I'm
seemed
sorry.
like it was going to be this true sequel because they promised us a campaign, like a full PvE mode that would have been a new experience and that would have made
It's just circumstantial and messing up the endings with this discount Joe Rogan bit at the end. Bunch of nonsense.
Overwatch 2 stand out from the first game, obviously. We've seen other games do this before, like Titanfall 1 didn't have a campaign, and then Titanfall 2 had a campaign, and people say the campaign was actually pretty good. Overwatch could have gone down the same route, but they decided to scrap the campaign, and then later on release it as like these half-baked, like multiplayer missions, or I don't even know, it's like some event missions. I never played it, but it really looked boring, and every time I hear someone talk about it, they just say like it was
These videos look boring.
dog shit.
On the other hand, there's games
I'm
like
sorry.
Rainbow Six Siege, which I gotta give credit. Like, there's not too many games that can survive. Just
All right. What's with Activision cutting out PvE modes these days? Overwatch 2 cut its campaign, but Sanctum 1 and 2 exist. Yeah. Anyways. Oh no, that's Sam Brownie. Those are basically what you want. Oh yeah. Money. Actually, no, information control. As always.
So AI can now make a game, but how does it compare to a human? Well, today I'm gonna find out by making my own game
More like population control.
and then using an AI called Rosebud to try to recreate it even better. We'll compare them based on 3 categories and pick a winner. I partnered with Rosebud for this video, and we're also gonna host an AI game jam with a $1,000 prize.
An AI game jam.
More on that later. For now, let's see my game. I started by making
Because the story for the sex game would have sold, they just wanted to lower standards.
a candle, which is a weird thing to start with.
Oh,
but
indeed.
The entire game revolves around this thing.
Now look, fucking
Basically,
AI,
it burns
got-
down over time.
They make a worse game in a few years. Now look at fucking AI. They actually make better games with higher standards.
And if it runs out, you get hunted by enemies. I'll explain more later, but for now, we need
Let's
to
see. That's
get
all.
this thing working. I started by adding fire. It doesn't look great now, but I can change it later. But there's an even bigger problem. How do we show the player that the candle's melting? Well, I could make a bunch of different models, but that's gonna take way too long, and we're trying to get this done as fast
They say they don't have to put effort into it anymore.
as possible. I just
Indeed.
made the candle stick a separate object so I could move it up and down like this. But from the player's point of view, it looked like it was melting. Kinda. But it'll definitely look better in the dark, so I want to make the map now. Last time I made a house from scratch, it took me
Because they just make games on an assembly line.
over a week. So this time, I'm gonna be using
Oh,
my
indeed.
resources. It still took a while to put all the parts together, but it was way faster than doing it from scratch. It looked pretty good, but there was one issue. It looks like a game right now, but not a horror game. Luckily, there's an easy fix. Just make it way too dark and give the player a light that's so dim they have to get 2 inches from their screen to see anything. This looked pretty good, and I liked that the candle was the only light in the house, except the fire just didn't look right. I ended up dropping 5 flames for this new one, and it looked so much better. This had me feeling confident, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna add particles that make the candle look like it's melting. I was humbled and decided to move on. The main idea of the candle is that it goes down over time and you want to keep it alive. But right now,
I like the fact that he had to put a fucking detail.
there's nothing you can do to keep it alive. So next, we should add a way to get new candles. I copied and pasted the model all over the house. There are like 20 of them, but each one only has a chance of spawning in, so it wasn't too easy, and the locations would change
It's a bully chief for bad behavior.
every game. Then I made it so that
Oh,
if
no,
you go
definitely.
up to a candle and hit E, you can collect it and reset your light. It worked, but just to make it a little bit
Yeah, I'm not surprised Activision has a bunch of allegations now.
better, I added a simple animation which made it feel way better.
Ooh.
Now the candle works completely, and your job is to keep it alive, because if it runs out... Okay, I don't really know. We should add that now. So I couldn't really decide what I wanted the enemy to be, and I had a lot of cool ideas, but it had to be something that you could kill with the candlelight. That way it would make sense that you have to keep the flame alive. Eventually, I decided the best enemy for this would be a doll. It's pretty easy to make, can be burned with a candle.
Ah, a CP moment.
That's all we need. First, I made the model. I ended up making a voodoo doll since they're bald and hair is hard to make. And I'm not gonna lie, the model was not my best work, but once everything was textured, it looked
Looks fairly decent.
pretty good. So how does he work? Well, I made it so if you find him while you still have the candle, you can light him on fire and win the game. This was pretty easy. I just added fire particles to him and made his material fade to black, so it kinda looked like he was being set on fire. Right now he's laying on the kitchen counter, but we can't have him just sit here all game. I want him to be able to move around the house. So I made a bunch of different spots where he can go, and he'll randomly move to one of these every few seconds. This way you had to search to find him.
Same shit with the Crusades, genocide, robberies, rapes, scams, and whatever else. They don't care about money. Isn't into a means. Getting away with doing bad shit for the thrill of our
And since it was so dark, it was pretty difficult. This
for the thrill of it.
worked and made a basic objective. Find this dude
Oh, no,
before
definitely.
the candle runs out. But to make it more interesting, I want to give him some kind of ability. I decided to give him the ability to light a candle. I made it so when he's moving, he has the chance to light a candle that you would have been able to pick up. This just wastes it and makes it harder on you. Now there was motivation to find this dude as fast as possible, because if the candle runs out, he should be able to kill you, but I wasn't sure how to implement this in a quick way because time was running out. So I decided that he could catch you by doing nothing. Okay, so if your light completely runs out, the doll has a bunch of new positions it can move to, and these are places where you're much more likely to walk, like directly behind a door or at the top of the
You
stairs.
do it and need a bigger
seems
high.
like he's out in the open, but since it's so dark and you won't have a light source, there's a good chance that you'll walk right up to him. And doing that will trigger the jump scare and end the game. But then I realized that there's no sound for this. With no sound and lights this dark, you couldn't see or hear anything. So we need to fix this. Luckily, making sound effects is kind of my thing. So I took this laugh and added a couple more sounds and a bunch of random effects. And I was able to create this. Maybe.
That's a pretty ass jump scare. What? Boo!
And I was able to create this. Maybe not perfect, but definitely better than last time. But with that, my game is finished. It's really, really simple, but it's coherent and borderline.
These CEOs aren't addicted to money, but causing problems and discomfort. Oh, indeed.
Playable, which is a big win for me.
Maybe causing problems and discomfort for their own gains. Plus the money.
But now, let's see if an AI can do any better. Here we are in Rosebud. You can tell it to write code and generate the art for your game. But is it better than a master developer like me? I started with a completely blank template and just asked it to let me move around with WASD. Wrote the code for this and it actually worked. Kinda. Sometimes your head would just keep spinning, but I just told it to fix this and then the move
The developers who follow the CEOs use the Nazi excuse. Just following orders.
it was working fine. With that done, we can
Oh,
move
most
on
definitely.
to the actual game, and we have a lot of work to do. Let's start with the obvious. It's supposed to be a horror game, but right now our character is frolicking through a lovely grass field. We can't have that, so I made it generate a night sky. This might have worked a little too well, because I can't see a thing anymore. I told it to make the candle to fix this, but I couldn't even tell if it was working because of how dark it was. So I told it to make it brighter for now, and we can just reset it at the end. But with the candle in the game, I just told it to add a light that shrinks over time, to simulate the candle melting. It worked right away, and I was feeling really good about this. But don't worry, this feeling does not
But unlike World War II, they have a choice because it's a video game.
last long. Because the next step in this game is to make the house. But even
Oh yeah, who would have thought they're a bunch of terrorists?
the best 3D model generators simply can't do this yet. Since I didn't want to play into its weaknesses, and AI is all about creating insane things that would never really exist, I decided to make the game take place somewhere I've never been before. Outside. I had to make a tree, which ended up looking pretty weird, but I decided to just run with it.
Be careful. Careful not to trigger the game developers.
But there's definitely still more we can do to make this environment better. The
Outside.
ground doesn't fit for a horror game, so I replaced it with dirt instead. Since this looked kind of weird, I also made it generate grass patches which spawned randomly, and this helped it feel more full. It's looking pretty good so far, but it's still missing the ability to keep your flame alive like in the original. So
Looks like a Nintendo 64 game.
I told it to add another candle that you could collect. I made sure it worked and then told it to add a random number in a bunch of random places. Now we can move on to the enemy, which is the part I've been most excited for. I told it to make a voodoo doll and...
Are you serious, my brother?
There was something off about it, but it just kind of works for horror games. So I told the AI
Kind of works for AI.
to make him wander around and hide behind certain candles. He's kind of hard to see, but he's there. And this way, if you weren't paying attention, you could walk right into him. With him working, now we just have to add the jump scare. I told Rose
Now if there were better tools for automated creation of textures and UI that didn't just steal from Google Images and 4chan, that'd be great.
to make it so that if you touch the doll or run out of light, you get jump scared. And it
Yeah, at that point, just make your own database.
actually turned out kinda creepy. But with that, the game's done. With both games done, it's time to determine a winner. And the contest will be judged by none other than me. Is this fair? No. Okay, so the first category is speed. And this one isn't even a question. My goal was to complete the game as quickly as possible.
Oh, I will be right back. Yes, I'm Franklin. I am back, brothers. So this is going to be the last video before I close off.
And I ended up getting a basic prototype done in about 13 hours, spread across a couple different days. And this is super fast for a game. But the AI, on the other hand, got it done in maybe 2 hours. So I'll give this point to Rosebud. The next category is art. The AI created a style that was really weird, but in a way it worked. Me, on the other hand, I might not be a super experienced artist, but I do feel like mine was a little bit more put together and clean, especially the candle. So I'm gonna give this point to me. Now for the last category, fun. Which game is more fun? Well, if I'm being honest, I'd say neither. But if I had to pick between these two, I'd say it's pretty close. I mean, they're almost the exact same game. In my game, you walk around a
Oh, the
dark
video
house
isn't showing?
trying to find
Excuse me. Yeah, thanks for the reminder.
candles or a doll.
But
Complete
anyways.
the game as quickly as possible. And I ended up getting a basic prototype done in about 13 hours, spread across a couple different days. And this is super fast for a game. But the AI, on the other hand, got it done in maybe 2 hours. So I'll give this point to Rosebud.
Show the screen. Thank you. Thank you, Spades. You're welcome. But anyways, Rosebud
Next
got
category is art.
1 point. The AI game looks like
created a style that
shit.
was
Oh,
really
definitely.
weird, but in a way it worked. Me, on the other hand, I might not be a super experienced artist, but I do feel like mine was a little bit more put together and clean, especially
No,
the candle.
definitely.
So I'm gonna give this point to me. Now for the last category, fun. Which game is more fun? Well, if I'm being honest, I'd say neither. But if I had to pick between these two, I'd say it's pretty close. I mean, they're almost the exact same game. In my game, you walk around a dark house trying to find candles or a doll. In the AI game, you walk around collecting candles while avoiding a doll that's moving around.
See what I meant? You
They're
can't beat a human.
extremely similar, which
Exactly.
is kind of what I was going for, but I think mine works better for a horror game. Now, you might say that I'm biased, and yeah, I kind of am. So I win, and I think I did a pretty good job. But honestly, this isn't a fair comparison.
No, definitely.
Rosebud is intended for anyone without experience to try to make a game, and Unity is intended for people who know game development to make a game. So obviously, someone like me with months of experience is gonna do better in Unity. But I was curious to see what other people could make, so I challenged my Discord to make a few games of their own. First game was kind of like a clicker game. You have stone, wood, pickaxe level, and axe level, and you can click on the stone to collect stone, and you can click on this guy to collect wood. Then you could use that to upgrade your pickaxe and axe and get more stone and more wood. So I actually liked this game, and I ended up making an auto clicker and getting the level
Ooh, a lot of people are showing late.
1,000. So beat that. The next one I tried was this space game. You fly around, shoot other ships, and collect items. Really simple, but unironically better than Starfield. I also tried this zombie survival
Exactly.
game, but for some reason my bullets didn't do anything. Dang it, dude, they gave me a Nerf gun. There were a bunch more that I didn't get to, but thank you to everyone who participated. So like I said earlier, Rosebud and I are partnering up for a game jam. These are the prizes, and the game jam will run in the
So-
description. Before I go, I promised to shout out to some of the artists on my
Game jam.
Discord server.
Even a shitty game made by a person has something fun by comparison to a bot that steals this data for human skin for people's private sex.
They made some really cool stuff for the community and definitely deserve some
Exactly.
recognition for their work. So a big thank you to them, and thanks for watching.
Anyways, that was totally fun. Thank you guys for thank you to the guys who showed up late. And thank you to the guys who showed up early, like Aka and Spades. Oh shit, what's up, Michael? How's it going? Sorry you guys missed out on the fucking stream. And yeah. See you guys later. I asked for a skin texture, not PP, LOL. Oh god.